Hello, welcome to yet another video on personal financial management. My name is Jesse Ainebiona, an entrepreneur, speaker, and trainer. And once again, I'm hosting Nancy Apio, a financial advisor, someone with over 10 years experience in insurance and banking industry. And she brings so much knowledge and perspective into this topic. In the previous video, we focused entirely on the subject of the mindset, because our mindsets have a profound impact on our financial behavior. In this video, we are going to be focusing on some of the disciplines and tips that we need to embrace as far as personal financial management is concerned. So let's get the ball rolling. Nancy, I believe that before we even focus on how these things are done, there is a big thing about the why. Tell us a bit more about the reason behind why is the why important? Why is the reason behind our financial management very important?
Thank you, Jesse. Like Simon Sinek in his book, he talked about start with why, and he had very profound reasons as to why he says we should always start with why. Because why motivates you. Your strong why pushes you to achieve your goal. So that's why, as we manage our finances, we need to tag our goals to that strong why. Let me give an example. If your goal is to achieve a dream home, your strong why is probably because you're tired of paying rent, and you're tired of someone knocking your door for rent. So that strong why will push you to achieve your dream home. So as we set our goals, let's always have a strong why tagged to our goals, and that will push us to achieve that we want to in regard to our financial management.
Absolutely. I like the principle that when the why is clear, anyhow, you can find the way to make it possible. When the why is clear, the how becomes possible. Great. So when we have the clear why, when we have a clear reason for doing the things that we want to do, we want to know the how behind the why. So how do you go about this?
Okay. The first way we can go about this is by having a monthly budget.
Okay.
It is very, very important to keep your expenses below your income. Let me ask Jesse, could you be knowing your monthly expenses?
Yes, it is a journey that I have taken on, because the income is quite easy to track. You'd see the money coming in. But in order for me to keep track of my expenses, we have a family budget where we know where we spend all our monies. And then we have also gone an extra mile to know how that budget is working. So it's one thing to have a budget, it's another thing to have a working budget.
Exactly.
So that's how we have worked around that area.
Wow, and that is very good that you keep track of your expenses. Most times, many people do not keep track of that, and then at the end of the month, you realize that you have no money with you.
Yes.
But personally, I have tracked my expenses using an app. It's called Money Lover.
Yes.
And it has helped me keep track of each and every penny or cent that I get, even if it means the money that I give to a beggar.
Yes.
It's right on my phone, so I'm able to input each and every money or penny that I spend. So I would encourage people you could use an app or use a spreadsheet, whichever works for you, just so you know where your money is going.
Yes.
Tracking your money is very, very important.
True.
In addition to that, it's also good to have like a rule, like if you have a 50-30-20 budget rule, whereby you know that 50% of your money is going on, or you're spending on your necessities like paying rent, utilities, and food, and then 30% you're spending it on what you really want. For example, entertainment, you want to go out, or you probably want to buy that car or something like that. So have 30% for your wants, and then 20% you spend on saving and paying off your debt. It's not cast in stone that you should do 50-30-20, but just have a kind of system to guide you in managing your money.
Okay. I like the idea of tracking, because sometimes you spend money and you don't even know where your money went. The beauty about tracking is that you will be able to know where your money is going. Or there have been situations where You might have lent money to somebody and you don't even remember because you didn't write down somewhere. So keeping track of your expenses helps you to know where your money goes. I also like this statement that it's one thing to lose money, but it's another to lose money and not know. And I think that is worse, because when you're tracking, then you will know that, oh, so my money, this is where my money is going. So one thing is to have a budget, a working budget, an active budget. Some people have budgets, but they only stop there. When you enter the supermarket, you'll buy anything that you see. No, work with a budget, work with a list, so that your finances are safe, secure, and more organized. So one, we have talked about having a budget and also having a plan on how to spend the money, the 50, 30, 20. And you can apply a percentage that applies to you, but whatever way you do it, have a working plan, something that guides you on how you're going to spend your money well. One other thing about financial disciplines is the element of saving. What are some of the considerations you guide people about saving?
Most important consideration that I always tell people is to have an emergency fund, because in life situations happen that you did not plan for, but it just happens. Take for example losing a job. You have been working and you have lost a job. You are not certain when your next job is going to come around.
Yes.
Now, if you don't have an emergency fund, it will be hard for you to weather the storms of that time of unemployment. So it's important that you have an emergency fund to cater for such stuff. It may not be a job loss, it could also be a tire burst, and you do not want to borrow money to take care of such unplanned expenses.
Yes.
So the reason why I encourage people to have an emergency fund is just to take care of those unplanned circumstances that come your way, and which you also do not want to spend on, like the budget that you have set.
Yes.
You do not want to spend. If you've not catered for it, then you have to know where would you be getting that money for unplanned expenses.
Okay.
So it's also another thing I encourage is having a retirement plan. Many times people wait to say, I'll start saving for retirement when I'm earning more money. But that's not the case, unless if you want to if you want to start saving or still working at a very, very old age.
Yes.
But irrespective of how old you are, whether you're young or old, or whether you're self-employed or employed by someone, it's very, very important to start your retirement plan early.
Yeah.
The earlier, the better. You retire early while young, and relax and enjoy your money.
Yes. Great. Now, many times I used to think about, whenever I would think about retirement, I would think that is still far, 55 or 65. But there's something I've come to appreciate, that retirement can happen anytime. And this is what I mean. You might be 30, you might be 40. You can encounter a situation in life that inevitably means that you can no longer work. It could be an accident. You become incapacitated. Now, I don't wish that for anyone, but we know that these things happen. So what plan have you put in place that even if you are not working actively for money, if something happened, you are still able to live on even if you are not working actively? I think for me, that is the perspective I look towards retirement. So in case you are young and you're thinking this is not my subject now, think again, because life can render you retired anytime, okay? But we want to prepare ourselves in such a way that you have an opportunity to live on even in the midst of such situations. But the other thing about retirement is you can even retire young, because retirement can also mean that you work not because you have to, but because you want to. So you are not a slave to say, I have to work on this because if I don't have a future. No, you work because you want, so your future is that secure because of some of the strategies that Nancy is talking about. Okay. The other thing about saving, so we've looked at emergencies, we've looked at retirement, but there is also saving for your goals. Maybe you want to take your children to better schools, maybe you want to buy a better car, or maybe you want to live in a certain home, you want to live in a certain neighborhood. Have a plan for those goals so that you can save towards them. So we've looked at tracking, and we've looked at budgeting, we've looked at saving, we've looked at a number of things as far as your money is concerned. One of the other things that I would like us to touch on is the issue of debt. Many times we find ourselves in a situation where you have a debt. How do you advise people on how to manage their debt?
In regards to debt, I actually tell people that they need to concentrate on getting rid of their debt, especially if you want to be financially independent.
Yes.
You cannot be financially independent with debt because clearly you still owe someone money. So
Yes.
you cannot say you're financially independent. And if I know there are times people have multiple streams of debt, but there's a way you can work around it. One of the ways I encourage people to do is if, for instance, you have so many debts, first focus on the one with the highest interest rate.
Yeah.
So once you're able to pay off that with the highest interest rate, then at least it gives you that satisfaction that in terms of the payments that you're making, they are reduced. Then you can move on to another debt that you have. So deal with the one with the highest interest and then move on to another, maybe one where you're getting so much pressure from the individual to pay back the money. Yeah. So let's see how we can get rid of our debt in order to be financially free.
Absolutely. King Solomon, whose writings I follow quite closely, says the borrower is slave to the lender. So that simply means that if you have someone's debt, if you have a debt, it simply means that, there is a sense in which you feel enslaved by the lender. So as much as possible, avoid debt. Because if you go back to the situation that caused you to pick that debt, you might realize that you actually didn't have to take it. And many times if you want to buy something and you don't have the money, maybe think again and ask yourself, do I really need this? Or I could wait a little longer. A little bit of delayed gratification can help us to solve some of these challenges. So let's manage our debt in case you already have it. List down all your debts and just like Nancy has said, have a payment plan, be honest and commit to that. But make a resolution, make a goal and say, look, this is the last time I deal with this. Live free so that you can enjoy your life. One thing that I also thought about in the area of saving, going back a little bit, was, when you think about it, when you earn money, and let's say you have to buy groceries, that money belongs to the grocery shop. If you have to put fuel in your car, that money belongs to the petrol station. If you have to pay your landlord, that money is not yours, it's for the landlord. That's why he says my money, so part of your money is actually not yours.
Okay.
So the only money that belongs to you is the money that you save.
Nice way to look at it.
So you might just be a conduit through which money flows to other people.
Yeah.
So pay attention to that, because I think the only money that truly belongs to you is the money that you save. And the best time to save is not after spending. So you don't first spend and then you save what is left over. No, you first get off what is to be saved and then you spend the rest, because you can always live your life within the context of what is available. Great. So thank you, Nancy, for these wonderful tips on saving, on debt management, on tracking and budgeting. I think these are helpful tips, and I truly believe that if we can take them into application, our lives can become more fulfilling, happier, and even healthier, because a lot of stress comes from finances. So manage your finances well, and I believe you'll have a better quality of life. In the next video, we shall be focusing on how do you go beyond your income source and even build multiple income streams and invest your money, so that at the end of the day, it's not only you working for money, but you have money working for you. See you in the next video.